And welcome back, everybody, to our next episode of Magnum OPUS Podcast. I have a special guest today for you, the one, the only, the Kimmy Chuang. She's here today to help answer a couple burning questions about who she is as a TA, where she came from, and what she's doing now. So thank you so much. Welcome to the show. Kimmy, thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course, Drew. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and start off. I want to ask a couple questions to you, and if we deviate and go our own little road, that's totally fine. We'll kind of follow the path here. So, can you tell me a little bit about your background as a musician? Maybe when you started playing, what instruments you play, if you play multiple, how long you've been playing, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, of course. Oh, I wish I played multiple, but I unfortunately just play cello mostly. I know like a little piano, not much. How I started though, I started pretty much like everyone else. In fourth grade, got to do this like I had the chance to like come in before school and like just basically play around with instruments. So like I got to try every single instrument in orchestra and band and like, percussion and stuff. And we were told to pick like our top three. And I just remember it's always really cheesy when I tell people this, but I remember the first time I held a cello. I was like, yeah, this is it. Like totally love at first sight kind of moment. I was like, I'm gonna play the cello. There was like no other option for me.
Oh, awesome. That's a super cool origin story.
Yeah, and then I just kept playing from like fifth grade. I started like actually halfway through fifth grade, I realized I really liked it, and then my mom signed me up for private lessons, and then I just kept on going and never stopped really.
Nice. So let's transitioning a little bit. Tell me about how long you've been involved in Opus and how you got involved.
Right, okay. I in eighth grade, I auditioned for like chamber strings, which is like the highest orchestra in high school, and the conductor for that orchestra at Matia Valley was Dr. Mark Liu, who was also the orchestra conductor and teacher for Opus. And I remember that summer he uh, recommended Opus to me and said that like if I want some chamber music experience over the summer, it's just a week, and that he teaches there, and it would be really good way to like meet new people and like play really challenging music. So yeah, summer of going from eighth grade to freshman year of high school was the first time I auditioned for Opus, and I auditioned. I met like a bunch of really, really cool people, and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely doing Opus again. And then so I did Opus every single summer throughout high school until I could not anymore. And then I became a TA. So I could keep doing Opus.
Yeah, that is awesome. So you've been a TA for I could guess, but I would be completely wrong and embarrass myself. So let me just ask, how many years have you been a TA?
I have been a TA for 3 years. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure. Yes. Yeah.
no kidding.
Mhm.
Okay, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about what you're doing now, because you're in college, right? So tell us what you're
Yes.
studying, maybe what you want to be, what sort
Yeah.
of the future looks like, and if you have no idea, that's totally okay too.
Yeah. I am. So I'm in college. I'm at University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and I started out majoring in environmental science and cello performance. Uh, but then I kind of decided that I really, really loved cello, but I didn't really want to do it as like a career. And I started falling in love with political science. So now I'm a dual major between environmental science and political science, from which I'm actually going to graduate this spring. And
No
then,
way. Oh, nice.
yeah, I
Mhm.
I just found out that I'll be able to graduate early, like a year early, because technically I'm a junior. So I'm going to spend the year probably working, applying to law school, because eventually I want to do environmental law, international environmental law, like with
My gosh.
treaties and stuff.
Wow. You ever thought about studying abroad?
I did. I was totally planning on study abroad. Um, my last semester of senior year, which is going to be fall of 2021. but they recently announced that all study abroad is canceled, sadly.
Oh,
So I did not go soon enough because now it's been canceled for like the whole year of 2021, basically.
oh shucks. Wow,
Yeah.
that really kind of stinks. Well, let's look on the bright side here. Now you just have more time to spend practicing cello. So let's see, environmental law, international environmental law. What kind of got you interested in that path, if that makes sense?
Yeah. I Well, when I was a kid, I really liked playing outside, and like when I was in Taiwan, I was born in Taiwan, and for kindergarten, I went to this, I guess you would call it kind of hippie, but it was like an outdoor kindergarten concept. So like every day, all of our classes were outside, and we were taught about like how to value nature and like how to treat nature as like a like being of its own, and then like that it has value. So like I think that really stuck with me, just from my childhood, and from then on I wanted to do something where I could um, protect the environment and like treat those values as like really important to protect. And then
Mm-hmm.
after I moved to the US, I was like, well, now that I like speak all these languages, and I feel like, I don't
Ooh.
know, once you move, it feels like the world is so much bigger than just one country, I guess. So that's
Mhm.
what got me into like I would be interested in working in internationally in different countries.
Kimmy, that was really, really well said. You mentioned that now that I know these languages, so how many languages can you speak fluently?
I can speak Chinese and English pretty fluently. Um, I speak Taiwanese, which is a dialect of Taiwan. Like, I could listen to it, I can say a few words. It's like one of those things. If
Hmm.
I'm in Taiwan, like I pick it up more, but
Yeah.
in the US, I don't get to use it as much. And then I took French
Oh,
for like a long time in middle school and high school. So I would say I can somewhat converse in French, but not very well.
wow. Hey, remember when I was like, how many instruments do you play? That could have been your opportunity to say, oh, I play one instrument, but I speak four languages. That that's a fun fact about you I did not know. And
Really? Okay, yeah.
yeah, for real, for real. Speaking of fun facts, way back when we did that Opus in this past summer when we did that Opus Fun Fact section about TAs, you said
Mm.
that not only did you see the Blue Man Group perform, you actually also played with the Blue Man Group. So tell us a little bit about how that happened and what went down, because I think it's an awesome story.
Oh, right. Okay. Did that end up being one of the fun facts? I don't even remember anymore.
I it should have been. I don't think it made it on there, and that's my fault. I'm so sorry.
No, I think I sent it to you like the morning of, so it was totally fine. The Blue Man Group, I was in the Chicago Youth Symphony Orchestra during all throughout high school, and the summer of between freshman and sophomore year, we like the Blue Man Group just contacted the CYSO, and we were like, hey, there's like a big I think it was like some sort of anniversary at Millennium Park, and they wanted to do a performance. So not only did I perform with the Blue Man Group, but we also performed like in Grant Park, like on that stage with the big
Uh,
steel cylinders and stuff. Like, yeah. So we practiced with them for like we practiced like 3 or 4 times beforehand throughout the summer, and then I think it was like near July 4th. We were one of those like free concert, like anyone can come kind of, um, like in the park music in the park festival during the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
summer,
yeah.
and yeah, it was. That is like something I will never forget. Being able to, like, they even showed up to rehearsal like in blue.
In blue. I'm so jealous. You were like 14 too. You were so young.
Yeah, I was so young. I wish I had the foresight to get their signature. I
Oh
think
my
some
god.
people did like after the performance, but I was like a little shy. I did get a picture though, so
Nice.
I have a picture with the Blue Men, the Blue Men.
The Blue Men. Anyone that sees Kimmy next, be like, "Hey, can I see your picture of the Blue Men?" Oh, that's incredible. So one of our focuses on this podcast is, while we all accept and acknowledge that music is awesome and it like does so many beneficial things, it's also really important to realize that it doesn't have to be the thing that you do. So
Mm,
we can treat it all as hobbies. We can have it as like the back burner, or it could be the thing that you want to pursue. Like if you had a performance degree. So
yeah.
Kimmy, let me ask you our one of our last two questions here. You started out wanting to pursue cello performance as a second
Mhm.
major. And what made you realize that, you know what, maybe cello is still incredibly important to me, but at this moment, I really wanted to pursue this international degree in politics and all this fun stuff. So I guess my real question is, how do you balance music as a hobby, if that makes sense? Because I know you're also a runner and you now speak four languages, so there's a lot of stuff going around in Kimmy's head. So what? Yeah, just tell us a little bit about maybe how much of a hobby is it? Is this
Mhm.
question kind of making sense?
Yeah, yeah, totally. So the first part, why I decided to not go through with the performance major, it's actually kind of funny. The short answer is I attended a music theory class where I had to sight sing, and
Oh.
it was not the prettiest time. But I enjoyed it nonetheless. I got through it. I was just, I think at the time, realizing that I could practice the same amount. I was still, even though I was doing a double major, I was still practicing at least like an hour to 2 hours sometimes every day. And I
Hmm.
think like that's what I really enjoyed about it, is that I had this, I guess you could call it stress relieving, but it was also just like something I felt like it mattered that I was doing it for myself
Hmm.
and not necessarily to get a degree or to even like, I feel like I could still perform in places where I wanted to perform that mattered
Hmm.
to me, like
Yeah.
in or like teaching, uh, while still getting lessons, and then without having to kind of go through those really hard music theory classes that might negatively impact my GPA if I in applying to law school.
Yeah.
You
Absolutely.
would need like a very very high GPA. So I figured that like I could see myself still being committed to it without necessarily needing to have like the classes that dictate like, oh, you need to do this and this to improve on it. I feel like I just the way that I saw it and the value that it brought to me, I feel like it was more of a like on my own time, on at my own pace kind of thing.
Nice.
Whereas I feel like with a degree, you definitely you can take as much time as you want, but it's much more structured. And I think
Mhm.
that's why I decided to just take private lessons and yeah.
That is awesome. And it's a really, really great reminder to everybody that it doesn't have to be the number one thing in your life and you can still enjoy
Hmm.
it. Kimmy, my last question for you, we'll kind of wrap up here. We are always searching for the best practice technique or the best practice tips that
Mm.
faculty and TAs can give. So let me ask you this. You are crammed in a practice room, you have 45 minutes and you got to make the best of it. What is maybe a practice
Mm.
technique that you want to share with everybody?
Oh, okay. I'm nervous that I'll say the same thing as someone else. Hopefully I don't.
Dopey. That's good,
But
actually.
yeah, actually, I the first thing I did once I got to college that I wish I had done a long time ago
Hmm.
was play open strings for like a really long time, like as
Ooh.
a warm up. And like sometimes you can have the metronome on and you don't necessarily have to, but it's just sustaining a natural A or like a D for as long as possible and like getting really smooth bow changes. Um, And when you realize that even though you're just playing one note, there's so much variety in how you're using the bow, what kind of pressure you're putting it on, like getting that really smooth bow change. It teaches you to listen while it also teaches that really fundamental skill of like, how do you play like just using only your right hand? Because a lot of times we get bogged down on like left hand technique. Oh, we have to shift to that. We have to, vibrato this way. And then we kind of forget because in comparison, it seems like the right hand is super easy. You just pull and you you push and you pull and that's it. But like that's where your sound is coming from. Like that's really where you're making your music. So I think if I had 45 minutes, I would probably still spend like a good at the beginning, I would spend a good 10 minutes just playing like open strings as a warm up and really, really listening if like the sound I'm producing is good. And that also teaches you to like relax because then you hear like the difference between if you have a tense right hand or like if you're tense anywhere, you're gonna notice it because open strings when you play really, really well, they can just really, really resonate. And I
Wow.
feel like that's a really good technique that not a lot of people. It takes a lot of patience, that's for sure. Because
Oh yeah.
yeah, but I would recommend that every so often. Yeah.
Kimmy, that was awesome. I don't worry, no one has said that before. And I really think maybe not too many people will say that after. That's a very rare and I think a really, really good idea. And it bleeds more into just playing open strings as a warm up. Like you said, there's so much to it. You can help
Mhm.
attention. It's a great way maybe to get your mind focused on what you're doing. So there's tons and tons of good things about that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
I
yeah. I really want to thank you, Kimmy, for joining us this week. I learned a bunch, including the fact that you know 4 times as many languages as you thought you did, and that you are now going to be pursuing an international career in politics. And I wish you the best of luck at that. That sounds really, really hard.
thank you, Drew. I mean, even I feel like every career has its hardships. People that are thinking of pursuing music performances, that's also hard in a lot of different ways. So I admire people like you and everyone that really, really dedicate their life to music. But even people that don't, like you
Yeah.
said, like everyone has music has different places in everyone's lives. Yeah. But they're all
Mhm.
important.
But they're all important. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Kimmy. It has been a wonderful 18 minutes with you. And for everyone out there listening, join us next week. Starting in January is where we begin to launch our musical journeys for real, where we begin to have our classes hosted by our wonderful faculty. So join us next week if that's something you're interested in. And if not, well, join us anyway because we're going to have awesome stuff. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.